This is QTV News. I am Marietu Sidibe and thanks for joining us. Coming up, Generals Umpa Mendy and Sumana Tamba freed by court-martial. The two were accused of desertion from the army. Gambia-British Army Corporation joint military training underway. 7 soldiers sentenced to 9 years imprisoned. Court-martial found them guilty of treason. For more on this and other stories coming up, stay tuned. 7 soldiers were on Monday sentenced to 9 years in jail by a court-martial for various crimes ranging from treason to mutiny. The court, which sat at Yundum Barracks, found them and another soldier who received a 3-year jail term guilty of plotting to overthrow the government of President Adama Barrow. Babukar C. reports.
The families of the convicted soldiers broke down in tears, screaming as Salifu Bojang, the president, read the verdict. The convicted soldiers are Captain Yaya B. Jame, Lieutenant Abdullah Jaju, Lieutenant Yaya Jame, Sergeant Babukar Sane, Sergeant Malik Bojang, Lance Corporal Ababaji, Private Mbemba Kamara, and Private Aliu Sane. They were initially arrested with 4 other soldiers in 2017 for alleged WhatsApp-recorded meetings about overthrowing the government. They were charged with 9 offenses including treason and mutiny. A guilty verdict was delivered on 8 of them, and 7 received 9-year jail terms and 1 got 3 years. According to their initial particulars of offense, the officers had conspired to unlawfully overthrow the government of the Gambia, and that they had planned to go about by arresting all ministers, battalion commanders and senior members of the Gambia Armed Forces, as well as forcefully taking armory from guards. The other 4 officers, Suleiman Sanyang, Lance Corporal Sambujang Bojang, Lance Corporal Ibrahim Jallo, and Corporal Lamin Jiba were acquitted of all charges. Almami Jiba, a resident of Fonyi and a brother to some of the convicted soldiers, says they have taken the decision in good faith, but added that they will continue with their lawyers to the appeals court.
So far I'm concerned, my reaction to this is shocking. A court martial that had went for 2 consecutive years. The fact of the matter is, if a person is maybe apprehended, he or she should be sent to mile 2 at the remand wing. But these people have been convicted already. They were sent in the convict wing for 2 consecutive years. This were the parading that they've been going through from every daily routine of the court. So we see that it is not fair. And we've seen this is the ruling of the military. We've accepted in good faith as citizens and also loved ones. We have other avenues to make sure we forgo this court to the higher time and see that our brothers in the army will be free.
The sentence of the soldiers will run concurrently beginning from the day of arrest. Babukar C., QTV News.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Monday issued a press release urging all persons who have received notices of adverse findings by the Janneh Commission of Inquiry to contact his office or the Solicitor General's. Here is the release in full. Following the conclusion of the work of the Commission of Inquiry into the financial activities of public bodies, enterprises and offices in relation to their dealings with former President Yahya Jammeh, a number of adverse findings have been made by the Commission against certain individuals and companies who have been notified of these adverse findings. While the government continues to review the Commission's voluminous report, the Attorney General wishes to invite all those who have received notices of adverse findings from the Commission to contact the Solicitor General or the Attorney General at the Ministry of Justice in person or through authorized third parties between 3rd and 8th June 2019. The release concludes. 2 army generals and Sumana Tamba and Umpa Mendy, who left the country for Equatorial Guinea with former President Yahya Jammeh, have been acquitted by court-martial on Monday. Babukar C. has the rest of that story.
The 2 generals were found not guilty on charges of deserting the army for 1 year after leaving for Equatorial Guinea with ex-President Yahya Jammeh. The decision was reached by a court-martial on Monday at the Yundum Barracks. Umpa Mendy was the principal protection officer to the former President Yahya Jammeh, and Ansumana Tamba was serving as the former head of State Guards Battalion. In delivering the judgment before a jam-packed court-martial, Commodore M. Senghor, president of the panel, found the two generals not guilty. Ozoma Echebwe is the lawyer representing the two generals.
Well, it's refreshing to see that we can still expect that justice be done, and we see justice done. Well, it has taken time, but it's a time that is worth it. In any case, I don't think there is any blame on anybody for that. I think it's just the exigencies of the time.
And are you thinking in any way that this could be overturned by the state, or they may recharge these people again and brought them to court? Do you expect that?
Well, like the president of the court said, it is subject to confirmation, so we'll still keep our fingers crossed.
General Ansumana Tamba took time to speak to the waiting press after the verdict and said he is more than ready to continue serving the country.
Ever since, I felt very much comfortable and I felt very much ease ever since before I even stepped my foot from Equatorial Guinea to the Gambia, because I know myself and I know who I am, and I know I am very much innocent, and I'm a patriotic citizen of this country. I've served this country in the Gambia Armed Forces for the past 29 to 30 years or so. So I know what it takes to serve your nation, and I know what it takes to be a good citizen. And then I am assuring all Gambians that I am more ready to serve my nation than ever before. Okay? And then I am just assuring all Gambians that I am today more ready to serve my nation and to lay my life for this nation, for the security of the nation and for the development of this nation than ever before. This is just, will of God, and then it's an obstacle that I need to pass through. Come what may, I was ready to take whatever the outcome might be.
The two generals were arrested and charged with desertion after they returned home unexpectedly in January last year. Babukar C, QTV News.
The Deputy Chief of Defence Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces have commended the British Army for its support to the Gambian Army. Major General Yankuba A. Drame made this commendation at the start of a joint training exercise between the Defence Intelligence and Security of the Gambia Armed Forces and the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers of the British Army at the Fajara Barracks. Alusisa reports.
More than 3 decades ago, the PPP regime of former President Jawara sought the support of the British to help start a national army. Since the dissolution of the Royal West African Frontier Force in 1958, the country was without a standing army. Following Jawara's lucky escape from the aborted takeover of Kukwai Samba Sanyang in July 1981, in which many Gambians died, Jawara was convinced to have a standing army. To date, the British continue to offer training and logistics support to the Gambia Armed Forces. During this training, the soldiers will relearn and improve old skills and procedures and as well practice new skills. Deputy Chief of Defence Staff Major General Yakuba A. Drame applauded long-standing cooperation between the two armed forces. He recalled that the British Army was and continues to be very supportive to the Gambian National Army since its formation in the early 1980s. Major General Drame implored the soldiers to open up to learn from each other. He advised them to stay focused during the course of the training.
We want to commend the efforts of the British Armed Forces and by extension the efforts and support of the British government towards the transformative stage of the armed forces from the inception to currently where we are. We acknowledge the support and we thank them immensely for that exceptional support they continue to render to the Gambia Armed Forces.
Speaking further, Deputy CDS Drame said the training comes at a time when the Gambia Armed Forces is undergoing a major transformation. He said what the strategic vision of the CDS is.
We want an armed forces that is legitimate, that is transparent, that is professional, and is subordinate and accountable to civil authority. That's number one. An armed forces that is sensitive to the needs and aspirations of every Gambians. That's number two. An armed force whose actions and behavior is firmly rooted on best practices and international humanitarian law.
Acting Commandant of the Gambia Armed Forces Training School, Lieutenant Colonel Umar B. Bojang, said the achievement of the Gambia Armed Forces are possible thanks to its leadership.
The Gambia Armed Forces has registered significant achievements since the dawn of the new political dispensation, essentially in the areas of capacity enhancement, career and professional development, and international peacekeeping missions. At the turn of events in 2017, the Gambia Armed Forces was able to gain its lost glory and became a professional armed force which eventually gained recognition both nationally and internationally. Its role has been constitutionally redefined to cater for the emerging phenomena of both national and international threat to public peace and security.
Major Toby Green, commander of the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers Remy of the British Army, is hopeful of a positive outcome at the end of the exercise.
This training started a long time ago. We started with our planning conferences almost a year ago, and it was very quick and apparent to me how much the Gambian Armed Forces were willing to lean in and to make it work, and it was really apparent how my commanders were keen in making this exercise work. And from the beginning, we started working together, and all this planning and all this training has been developed.
The concept of joint operation is becoming indispensable in view of the emerging political and military challenges that cut across multinational frontiers. Training is an integral element of a well-functioning army. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main stories. 7 soldiers were on Monday sentenced to 9 years in jail by a court-martial for various crimes ranging from treason to mutiny. The court, which sat at Yundum Barracks, found them and another soldier who received a 3-year jail term guilty of plotting to overthrow the government of President Adama Barrow. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Monday issued a press release urging all persons who have received notices of adverse findings by the Janneh Commission of Inquiry to contact his office or the Solicitor General's office between 3rd and 8th June 2019. 2 Army generals, Ansumana Tamba and Umpa Mendy, who left the country for Equatorial Guinea with former President Yahya Jammeh, have been acquitted by a court-martial on Monday. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thank you for watching.